President Donald Trump issued a long list of last-minute commutations and pardons. His former chief strategist, Steve Bannon, on that long list. Bannon and 3 co-defendants were accused of defrauding donors in connection with a crowdfunding campaign called We Build the Wall.
Prosecutors say thousands of investors were duped into thinking all of their donations would go toward building a wall on the U.S. southern border, but then used hundreds of thousands of dollars that were donated for personal expenses. President Trump also pardoned rappers Lil Wayne and Kodak Black. Lil Wayne faced up to 10 years in prison for illegally possessing a firearm.
Kodak Black is in prison for making a false statement in order to buy a gun. Trump also pardoned former Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick, who was serving a 28-year prison term on corruption charges, and Google engineer Anthony Levadowski, who was sentenced for stealing trade secrets relating to driverless cars from the search giant.
Unprecedented security is in place in Washington, D.C. for today's inauguration. Airspace above and around Washington, D.C. will be restricted for President-elect Joe Biden's swearing in. The
FAA warns of varying degrees of penalties for pilots who ignore these restrictions. They range from administrative action to criminal charges, even the use of deadly force if it's determined that the aircraft poses an imminent security threat. Inaugural ceremonies kick off around 10:30 our time with the swearing in of Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. Joe Biden will take his oath as the 46th president around 11 o'clock. There are concern about possible violence on this inauguration day, and that has police stepping up security at the North Dakota State Capitol in Bismarck.
Concrete barriers are set up outside of the building, and the Highway Patrol has been closely monitoring information regarding potential demonstrations. However, as of today, they don't have any information leading them to believe an incident will happen.
Alongside the inauguration of Joe Biden today, the Red River People Over Profits Initiative is hosting a solidarity march, and their focus, a better year than 2020.
The Valley Today's Brian Sherrod joins us live this morning with a breakdown of what we can expect this afternoon. Good morning, Brian.
And good morning, Jordan. Lisa, is exactly like you said, a better year than 2020 is what the 2021 goal is, and that's also the goal for this march. So instead of turning a blind eye towards things that are happening, they want to be more demanding to fix the things that they can change. Now, when I talk about these changes, I mean the threats of right-wing violence and extremism, also the social and financial burdens and ramifications of this pandemic, people struggling to make ends meet. The group also saying police getting away with murder is another change they want to see. The last thing, greed and monetary interest threatening lives in the community. They want to see a step up from the community by sharing ideas, working together, building each other up, protecting one another, and fighting for justice for all. So this march is scheduled to be right here at Island Park at 4 this afternoon. So you can go on our Facebook page to see the full details.
Brian Sherrod reporting live for us this morning. Thank you for that update.
It is now 6:53 on this Wednesday, January 20th. Hold your hats when you head outside. She's going to be a windy one. Good morning, Lisa.
That's for sure. Good morning. We've got wind. We've got warmer temperatures coming our way for today. In fact, those numbers have been climbing through the day as well. But that wind also creates its own hazards because we just got that fresh snow over the last couple of days. So we're talking about some blowing snow being an issue. You can see the camera behind me jostling just a little bit at Home of Economy in Grand Forks with that wind really going and picking up there. You can see those flags at attention right now with the stronger winds as well. But the blowing snow is going to be a real issue in the morning hours where temperatures remain below freezing. And then heading into the afternoon with some warmer weather, warmer temperatures, that will be less of a concern, but there might be some slick roads at that point in time. So something to watch out for if you're going to be traveling today, especially out in open country. Here's a look at our wind speeds. We're going to see some conditions that are more into the 30s, wind gusts going right now to 35 in Thief River Falls, a 30-mile-per-hour gust in Devil's Lake. Fargo has a gust to 28. That wind coming in out of the south or southwest. It's most intense down in Sisseton, where we've got a gust to 44 miles per hour at the moment. A couple of wind alerts for you this morning. In the lighter blue or lighter teal color there, that's a wind advisory. It's in effect now, and it will remain in effect until 9 o'clock tonight, including Grand Forks and Jamestown and Ellendale. And by the way, it does include the Devil's Lake Basin right now. The high wind warning, that kicks in at noon today. We're looking at our strongest winds most likely in the afternoon hours. And we could see those gusts up to 50 to 60 miles per hour in that area. Our visibility is lower again in some places where we've got some blowing snow. We're down to 2 miles in Thief River Falls, Sisseton, a 1/10 of a mile. And temperatures continue to rise. When we started the valley today, Fargo was in the low teens. Now we're at 22 degrees. It's 25 in Grand Forks. It's 32 in Devil's Lake. Over to the east, also climbing a bit, though it's taken a little longer to warm up there. And the wind will be a factor for your wind chill. We're talking wind chills that are less than 0 in a couple of spots. So I'm saying the word warm, but I mean that for January standards. You're still going to need your winter gear. Keeping an eye on the snow north of the border, that may dip into some of our viewing area up north later today. So your bus stop planner, it's going to be mild, but just a reminder, it will also be quite windy. We're looking at temperatures this afternoon well into the 30s, a high of 38 degrees in Fargo. And then, of course, we know the temperatures drop from there for the rest of the week. But at least today, we've got that really mild weather.
New this morning, deputies in the Southern Valley suspect alcohol was a factor in a 2-car crash that sent 3 people to the hospital. The Richland County Sheriff's Office says Nicholas Heitkamp of Wahpeton ran a stop sign near Dwight, North Dakota, and was hit by an SUV. Both vehicles were totaled.
The SUV driver and the 2 children in her car were treated at the Breckenridge Hospital. Heitkamp and his passenger were treated for minor injuries at the scene. The Sheriff's Office says alcohol-related charges, they are likely against Heitkamp.
A Roseau, Minnesota man has been fired from his job in a top nursing position and faces several charges after a domestic assault incident over the weekend. 41-year-old Nathan Brovold was chief nursing officer at Life Care Medical Center in Roseau. He's facing 7 charges after police say he hit a woman, tried to strangle her, and then threatened to shoot her.
Court documents show that deputies were sent to a Roseau home Sunday after a 911 call about a man with a loaded gun. When they arrived, deputies ordered Brovold to come out of the house, and he did. They then found a gun in his waistband. Court documents say there were 2 women and 2 children in that home, and that Brovold and one of the women had been drinking with friends, and they started fighting after the friends left.
Court records say the woman slapped Brovold for hugging a guest too long, and he allegedly put her in a headlock, hit her in the face several times, and tried to strangle her. The other woman called 911 and told deputies she could hear Brovold load a pistol and shout at the woman that he was going to shoot her.
The man accused of using an axe to smash windows at Senator John Hoeven's office in Fargo is now facing federal charges after being indicted by a grand jury. Damage to the windows, intercom system, and door frame is costing more than $1,000. Thomas Starks of Lisbon is now charged with damage of government property. He has also been charged in state court for criminal mischief.
A new COVID-19 vaccination center opens its doors today in the old Gordman's department store building in Fargo. Sanford Health will be giving the shots, finishing with their employees, and then people in Phase 1B. Essentia and Cass County will have booths set up there in the next few weeks. But remember, you do have to make an appointment. A Minnesota state vaccine registration site has crashed as newly eligible seniors try to get appointments for some of the few doses available to the group. The state started taking appointments at noon yesterday for a limited supply of 12,000 doses available to seniors, teachers, and child care workers at 9 sites statewide. The
call center received more than 83,000 calls with up to 2,000 hits per second. People are reporting long waits and error messages on the registration website. State health officials say half of the doses are reserved for seniors and half are for teachers and child care workers.
Let's get our answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. Today's question, 1 in 4 of us can't name a single one of these.
The answer, one of our neighbors. Get to know them. Bring over a pan of bars or something, maybe a hot dish.
Have a block party.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it's kind of cold for a block party.
Yeah. And bring some hot cocoa out. We can all handle it. Remember, you can play along every day by heading to the Valley News Live Facebook page.
The Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start. But remember, the Valley Today rolls on. Join us right now for more live up-to-the-minute news and weather on the Fargo CW.